Watch out, it's double feature time. Comment down below, what did you think of these two movies? I would love to hear your thoughts and your comments down below. Today we're doing a double feature for the Halloween season. Two horror, scary, kind of comedy movies. The first film on our list for today is the 2019 horror comedy drama, Benny Loves You. Jack, who is desperate to improve his life, throws away his beloved childhood plush, Benny. This proves to be a disastrous move as Jack finds deadly consequences when Benny comes to life with deadly intentions.
The bear, he'll kill you all!
This is one of those movies I had zero idea was even a thing. Like, I had no clue that this was a movie after recommendations on TikTok. Benny Loves You was one of the films that came up constantly, so I finally checked it out on Tubi. And you know what? It wasn't too bad. First thing about this movie is that it is a small, low-budget film. And you can tell because of the way that it's made and the style and even just like the special effects and stuff, they didn't have a big budget for this movie. There weren't that many like even characters in the film. I thought that the premise of this movie and like the concept of like a stuffed animal coming back as a killer stuffed animal, really strange, obsessive, unhealthy, loving relationship with Jack, and you see like how Benny truly does love him and will do anything to keep that love, and even if that means murdering people. And I like the dynamic that they present in this film. This movie is actually pretty funny. Like, it's definitely a dark comedy. There are some horror elements to it. There are a few scary parts, like a couple moments that have some funny pop-outs, but also some scary pop-out moments. So it's very entertaining. There's some great jokes in it. It's just funny to watch like a little stuffy kill people, have a knife, and Benny loves you! Benny loves you!
Play with Benny.
And that's kind of the part of the charm of the dark humor in this film. And I just like the overall story of this movie and the concept of this film, maybe a bit more than the actual execution. A couple of things about this movie that really hold it back. The dialogue in this movie is really poor. And that seems to be a theme with like any sort of schlocky kind of B-level horror films. Brings me to my next thing, which is the special effects. There are some times where the blood and the kills and the way, again, like I've mentioned, how Benny moves, then there are times where it doesn't look good, like it looks really cheap, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing a low indie horror kind of film, but when it doesn't even seem like they were trying to do anything creative with like the cinematography, the way that the movie's filmed, it kind of looks grainy and sort of gray all the time. There's nothing that like stands out about it. I didn't think the creativity was on display here. And the pacing of the movie is kind of slow until Benny goes full crazy. It drags at parts, and then something happens with Benny and after he comes to life, and then you're like, okay, now I'm into the movie. But it took so long to get into this film. And the movie's only like an hour and 34 minutes long. So if like almost half your movie is like, okay, to me, I can't say that it's an excellent movie. I felt that the character's really boring and not very likable. I didn't care about really anyone in this story, including Jack himself, the protagonist. In fact, I kind of want to see like Benny win. I don't know why. This movie could have felt a lot scarier when the premise is a lot better than the actual execution of the film. It's hard for me to be super positive about this movie, besides the fact that, yes, you do have some fun and you have some good laughs. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give Benny Loves You a C+. And the next film in our double feature for today is the 2017 horror adventure dark comedy fantasy film, Dave Made a Maze. Dave is an artist who has yet to finish anything significant in his career, who builds a cardboard fort in his living room only to fall trapped inside of his own fantastical pitfalls, booby traps, and with creatures of his own imagination. Annie, Dave's girlfriend, then leads a band of oddball friends of Dave's on a rescue mission through Dave's amazing maze.
Have you been working on this all weekend?
I'm lost.
It's cardboard.
I know, but it's much bigger on the inside.
I'm going into the maze.
No! I don't want you to get lost!
This movie was pretty entertaining. I had a good time. This movie is a lot more of an abstract kind of horror film. First of all, I have to say the creativity And the production design in this movie is amazing. It is so cool to look at. And that is an amazing feat when almost the entire movie is made out of cardboard. Like, even sometimes the characters become little cardboard characters or like puppet characters in the film. The style of this movie, the tone, the amazing sets, like everything being built out of cardboard, and like costumes are made out of cardboard. Just amazing production design. This movie must have been a pain in the ass to make. Like, I can't imagine having to build all of the cardboard sets and all of the little pieces and what this world becomes as they enter into this maze. It's quite amazing. That is manifested into these like booby traps and these like horrible situations that they have to try and get through this maze to survive in the end. But even like if a character is killed in the film, it's like they turn into cardboard in this film, or they turn into like paper, or they just like totally explode, but there's no blood. It's like streamers and stuff. So the horror in this film is there, but like the way it's executed, it's almost like a horror funland version of like a scary movie. You can imagine what's happening, like when the shredded red paper goes everywhere, you're like, oh, that's blood being sprayed all over the room. It looks fantastic, even if it's just cardboard sets. The sets are amazing, and the way that he moves the camera throughout those locations and those sets, and like how the characters interact with the cardboard creatures or the cardboard booby traps or whatever it is so well executed. And if like on the outside someone bumps into the cardboard fort, on the inside it's like a massive earthquake and things are falling over and like almost crushing people. I just love the comedy and the irony in this film, and just the contrast between what's happening outside and what's actually happening in the maze. I thought was hysterical, and just a really funny, quirky, abstract concept that absolutely I thought worked. The booby traps and the action that happens within the maze is like very fun and ridiculous, but it's also visceral in a strange way. And I love the combination of the tone that this movie puts out. Like I said, this is definitely a more abstract film. And because of that, the horror is very light in this film. It's very lighthearted. It doesn't have like an emotional impact. It is not scary. I think this is mislabeled as a horror film because of the lack of blood, lack of truly visceral kills. It doesn't quite meet that bill. The dialogue is bad, just like Benny Loves You. The dialogue in this film is not well thought out. It is just terrible at times, and like the characters just say everything that's in their heart and then on their mind, and it's not very believable. Some of the characters, including our lead, are a bit underdeveloped. It's hard to connect with these characters fully and invest with the characters' emotional arc and story in this movie. I thought the climax of this film was super anticlimactic. Like, it does fizzle out in the third act of this film. The concept is so strong, and the production design and stuff, but the actual execution of the story and what's trying to be said, it runs out of steam. And the movie is only like an hour and 20 minutes, and honestly it could have been like 10 minutes shorter. There are some times where I was looking at my watch, I was kind of checking out of the movie, and honestly after the 45-50 minute mark, the movie begins to unravel and fall apart. Doesn't mean it's a horrible movie. I wish that it just executed that and dived into those characters a bit more. I did enjoy this movie a bit more than Benny Loves You. I think it's more creative. I think it has a lot more production, and I respect the artistry and the way that the film looks. I would recommend Dave Made a Maze just to watch for like the creativity and the way that they built this film in this world. It is definitely worth a watch for that alone. What did you think of these two films, Benny Loves You and Dave Made a Maze? What is a recommendation for a horror film that you love that you can give to me? And also don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. So overall, I'm gonna go ahead and give Dave Made a Maze a B-. Thank you so much for checking out Mr. Teach Film Preach. I hope you had a good time with this double feature. Come back and check out some other video reviews like Saw 10, No One Will Save You. Have a great day, everyone. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.